welcome to another Poppy's Kitchen on ToffeeTV, and we are right back here at PCI, which is my cooking school. And today I'm going to teach you how to make chicken nuggets. Why? Because they're really easy, they're fun, and they're just so delicious, and you love making them. First things, in our bowl, we're going to pop in about 6 tablespoons of white flour, also known as Maida in Urdu. Use this to make a base or a batter. Once you've got your flour in the bowl, next you're going to spice it up a little bit. And I love doing that because adding a little bit of spice to the flour will give the chicken nuggets that extra special zing. So a nice pinch of red chili flakes, a nice pinch of salt, and I like putting in my favorite thing, which is cumin, also known as zira. So 1 pinch of zira. Mix it up with a spoon, and there you see everything's sort of disappeared. Now we add in some water. I'm going to add in about half a jug of water to start off with. And I do this in bits because I don't like the flour being too lumpy. So if you work it in half a jug at a time, the flour doesn't remain lumpy, your batter doesn't remain lumpy. Little flakes of red chili in there. Almost looks like it's a dessert. I'm going to add in a quarter more jug of water. Put the water to the side. And there we have it. Our batter is not too thin, not too thick. But as you can see, when I put my spoon in, it covers, sort of it coats the spoon really well, and that's when you know that your batter is ready for the chicken. Okay, next, what do? We get some boneless chicken pieces. Now, making chicken nuggets is really, really simple. Now, if you want, you can leave the boneless pieces as they are, or you can cut them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut half of them. And I'm just going to cut them in half, like so. And now here's the fun part. Some of the pieces I can leave, but the ones that you cut in half, you lay them on your board like so, and then you bash them with your hand. Squish them down. And see, they become nice and squishy. So there you go, now you've beaten the chicken up as well. Then just pop it into your batter, do the same with the rest. Pop it into the batter. Now I've beaten up some chicken, and some chicken pieces I've kept whole. Just put them straight in, and I'm going to let them sit in the batter so they sort of soak in all the juices. Now, whilst my chicken is soaking in all the juices, I'm very quickly going to teach you how to make tomato ketchup at home. Simply take a tomato and chop it up into small pieces. If you're scared of using a knife, don't worry. Get an adult to do it, and if you're an adult, you really shouldn't be scared of making tomato ketchup at home. So there we go, 2 tomatoes, just chopped up. And you can see I'm not even chopping them very finely, I'm keeping them quite rough. Because cooking at home is fun, and you don't need to be a professional to make really, really good things. And if you want to become a professional, for you kids who want to come to PCI, well, I'll teach you how to chop professionally later on. Next step for the tomato ketchup, put your pan on a high flame and add in about 1 tablespoon of oil, and I usually say that that's 1 swirl of oil in a pan. So there we go, 1 tablespoon of oil. Then pick up your tomatoes and just place them right into the center. Okay, so now you can hear the tomatoes have started sizzling. You know, when that lovely sizzling sound comes from the pan, that's the point that you pick up a spoon and you stir it around a little bit. We call this sautéing in cookery. Basically means you use a little bit of oil and you place the product in the oil and you let it cook in that 1 tablespoon. Okay. Just going to reduce the heat a little bit. Now, I'm not going to add anything into the tomatoes till they've started breaking up. So that point happens when the skin starts coming apart from the flesh. Just going to stir it very, very gently. You don't need to squish it, you don't need to smush it. Just gently move the tomatoes around in the pan as if you were painting. Okay, so now you can see that some of the skin has started coming apart from the flesh. And at this point, I'm going to add in some spices. So, because I wanted chili ketchup, I'm going to add in some red chili flakes And I like using red chili flakes because they cook better and they're not as hot as red chili powder. So always use red chili flakes in your tomato ketchup. So 1 teaspoon of red chili flakes. Then I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon level of salt. That means it's not heaped. And I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons of white sugar. Yes, sugar goes into your tomato ketchup. It's a key ingredient. Okay, so now it's sizzling away, and immediately the sugar melts, and that process is called caramelization, when the sugar creates a coating on the tomato. Now I'm going to add in about 6 tablespoons of water. And did you see that, how I use my spoon to break the fall of the water? You must do that in a pan. Never ever pour water straight into the meat or whatever's cooking in there, because it'll just take away from the flavor of the main dish. Little tip of cooking well. Okay, so now we've added the water in because we want the tomatoes to break down, meaning we want the tomatoes to cook more. So we're gently going to keep doing that, and I'm going to keep stirring whilst I do that. By stirring, you'll actually create all the steam, and that steam means the water is evaporating, meaning it'll disappear from your pan. And the more you stir, the faster it'll go. Half the water is almost evaporated, so I'm going to add in about 6 tablespoons more. And there we go. We've started creating a lot more steam already. Now our second batch of water has started evaporating, and this is the point where I'm going to add in white vinegar. You can use any vinegar you want. I like using white vinegar because I like the taste of it in ketchup. I think that if you use red vinegar, sometimes it becomes too strong. So stick with white vinegar. Add in about 3 tablespoons worth, because vinegar is a key component of the ketchup. Oh, and you can smell the vinegar already. You have to keep cooking it for a while until that smell disappears. And another cool thing to know is that things like lemon and things like vinegar are acidulants, meaning that they break food down immediately as soon as they've been added in. You know, sometimes when you've got a piece of fish, or let's say you've got a piece of meat and you pour some lemon on top, you see that the skin of the fish, or the skin of the chicken for example, goes white. That's because it's acidulating, because these things are tart. And another cool thing to know is that lemon and vinegar are purifiers. You can use them to clean meat and clean vegetables, and therefore they cook them. Now we can see that after we added the vinegar in, the tomatoes have started breaking down completely, and you're getting this nice thick sort of syrup. There's still there's still a few chunky pieces in there, but I don't mind it so much because I like chunky ketchups. Now, let's say you don't like chunky ketchups, you can blend this or use a fork to mash it up even more, or you can just put it through a sieve. And our chili ketchup is ready. So let's just clean it up on the side, give it one last sort of heat flash, and turn the flame off, and voila! Now it's time to fry the nuggets. So let's get a pan on a medium heat. I'm going to pour in about 8 tablespoons worth of cooking oil. Now, a lot of people like deep frying nuggets. I don't. I like to shallow fry them. I like to turn them over. I also don't like making nuggets with a high batter. What I mean by a high batter is a very thick batter. So we're going to let our oil heat up. And a good way to know when your oil is exactly hot, ready for frying, is by taking a little bit of your batter and just dropping in a few drops. And when that starts bubbling and frying up to the surface, you know that your oil is hot enough to put in the chicken nuggets. So let's give it about 2 minutes. Oh look! Our batter, it's frying! It's time to put the nuggets in. Now, as I told you that I like making nuggets which aren't too thick, so I'm just going to layer them in like so. And this is where you have to be a little careful. If you like nuggets to be really well coated with a batter, then you can keep the batter slightly thick and not add in that extra water. But I just think that it's more healthy. You can make this for your parents, you can make it for yourself, it can be a lunchtime snack, tea time snack. And even if you don't like cooking, this is just something great to do. Okay. Now the trick to frying these nuggets is that you don't turn them over immediately. You put them into the oil, you let them cook till they're golden brown on one side, and then gently flip them over. Remember, be very, very careful when you're cooking on a high flame or cooking with a lot of oil. Make sure there's a grown-up around, and if you're a grown-up, make sure that your kids are slightly away from the cooker, and just sort of employ a certain amount of care when you're frying. One side is frying away. I'm gently going to use a little bit of the cooking oil, pour it on top of each nugget. And what this does is it seals some of the batter on top of the nuggets. And if you notice, we didn't put in any extra spices into this at all. We literally used the spices that went into the batter. Of course, if you want, you can always add in more spices. Say that cooking is completely dependent on your own taste. So if you like more chili, add in more chili. You want to add in some mustard, into your batter. Tons of things. Just go crazy in the kitchen. There we go. Let's just flip one over, like so. You can see light golden sort of color coming on one side. Big one over here. A nice assortment of nuggets. And of course, if you like to make nuggets with filled centers, you can chop the chicken up very, very fine, or use chicken keema and make centers. Make a little pastry like ball, dip that in the batter, and then fry it. There's so many things, so many adventures you can go on in a kitchen. So you have to let the nuggets go a little golden brown before taking them out. That means they're not done yet. You have to keep flipping them over after about 1 minute each on each side and cook them for about 8 minutes. Okay, so now I've got a nice golden color on all my nuggets. They've not got that thick batter on them, so don't think that you're getting those horrible fake nuggets that you do from junk food places. Never do that. Make them at home. Okay, so flame off. I'm just going to get a little plate upon which I put a napkin. I'm gently going to take them out so all the excess oil gets soaked up. See, so they're super healthy and they're just supremely easy. And the reason why we didn't spice them too much, remember, is because we have a chili ketchup. Now, if you don't have a chili ketchup, like I said, you can add in more spices. You can do anything that you want to because you are in control in your own kitchen. And now, let's plate up. Okay, now, for the plate up, I'm just going to use a plate like so. And I'm going to take some of my lovely chili ketchup. And I'm just going to layer it right here. Then I'll grab another spoon and pick up some of my nuggets and just sort of make them look pretty on the plate. You don't have to fill the plate up a lot, just sort of make the nuggets look pretty. Use a little red chili flake to sort of lightly coat your plate. And the last little piece of decoration is fresh ground black pepper. Just take a little bit and sprinkle it from a height on your plate, because what happens with that is you get a really nice sprinkle all over the plate rather than in one little place. And there we go. chicken nuggets with our homemade ketchup.